vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
I've come up with a family emergency plan.
What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
Welcome to Lumen Conferencing. Please enter your passcode followed by the pound or hash key, and I'll connect you.
So just, yeah, yeah. And I didn't go back that way, so. And let me know if you need any help. Thank you. You have any issues?
Thank you. Your passcode is confirmed. When you hear the tone, you will be the first person to join the meeting. The line will be silent until another person joins.
That's dull. I wonder how many times he's heard that joke. Good evening. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order on the Monday, August 22nd, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting tonight with invocation by Commissioner Irving and Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Yocum. Please stand.
Blessings and the protection you've given us and also the great city we live in. As we go about our deliberation tonight, we just ask that you be with us, guide us, keep us focused. And we just continue, to lift up those people dealing with illnesses, other concerns. We ask this in your name, amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner LaFalle?
Here.
Commissioner Yocum?
Here.
Vice Chair Sharp? Chair Huggins?
Here.
Commissioner Irving?
Here.
Commissioner Frank?
Here.
Commissioner Robertson? Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, call the public. If you wish to speak, please complete a speaker card and submit to the chairman prior to the start of the meeting. The procedures to follow if you address the commission are: commission requests that you express your ideas in 5 minutes or less and refrain from any personal attacks, derogatory statements against any city employee or fellow citizen or anyone else, whether in the audience or not. The chairman will limit discussion whether she deems such an action appropriate to the proper conduct of the meeting. And I do have a speaker card from Tina Dugan. Did you want to speak now? Yes. Thank you. Oh, that's not.
Thank you,
State your
Chair
address.
Huggins. Commissioners, my name is Tina Dugan, and I'm a resident of Glenwild. I'm just wanted to speak about a concern about having DRP 22-17 on the consent agenda. You don't have a very long agenda this evening. These are taped for YouTube so residents can go back and view them. And I think it would be advantageous to those citizens that do want to view it to be able to hear the presentation about the new police substation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we'll close that. All right, we do have a consent agenda. Robertson?
Madam Chair, I'd like to request that the consent agenda, we remove the DRP from the consent agenda for open discussion in public.
No problem.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. We do have the remaining items, which are the minutes from last couple of meetings. Do I have a motion on that?
Move approval.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, we got Commissioner Irving and then Commissioner Frank. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. All right, well then let's go to DRP 22-17, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Thank you very much. I guess I would just clarify, would we like to see the full presentation, or was there a clarification on a specific question, or?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Right ahead.
The purpose of my request was to daylight this project to a whole new neighborhood that may have not seen it before. I support the project. I think it's a viable project. I think it's a viable location. I don't support it being pushed through on a consent agenda. We have neighbors over there that may not have attended the first round of meetings because it didn't affect them. So I would like a daylight and a full presentation, please.
Okay, understood. Madam Chair, Commissioner Robertson, I would just point out, well, actually, I'll hold that thought because it's in the presentation itself. So this is a request by the City of Maricopa for approval of site plan, landscape plan, and elevations for a new public safety facility to be located here in the city center, effectively, folks, just south of where we're sitting this evening. We are in the, please excuse me, in the development review process. We will be moving shortly into the construction drawing phase of this. And I would just point out that we have current zoning on the site that supports the request before you this evening. Just a little bit about the site location. As I said, it's essentially located south of us here, adjacent to the public library. And if I could direct your attention to the map up there, City Hall, where we're presently seated this evening, and then immediately south of the public safety facility. The site is 3+ acres in size. It is vacant at this point. Proposed use is public safety. The existing zoning on the site is transitional zoning. Land use for the general plan supports the use we're requesting. And I just thought I would note in there as well that the building height is maximum 30 feet. Just take a look at the site plan this evening. It's very, very similar to what we saw before. It is essentially a PSAP building and a public and a police department building. Essentially, PSAP is a 911 call center, so they'll be located adjacent to each other in the site. We have staff parking to the east along Davy Drive, and we have the impound yard and the secure parking to the west of the site, which would be adjacent to the public library. What's not shown on the actual site plan, but you can see through the existing PD, it is immediately south of the existing police department, essentially separated by a retention basin. What you're looking at there is the landscape plan for the site. It is over landscaped. It will fit the context of the surrounding area and should provide a seamless transition between not only City Hall and the public library, but the existing police department and the new site as well. Additional roads will be constructed, thus Davy Drive, and existing infrastructure will be extended east along Bolin Road as well. The elevations will probably look very similar to you. They are exactly what we saw back in December of 2021. A nice combination of colors. It's got a contemporary look, but it still focuses on the public safety and the secure aspects of all that a public safety facility needs for the folks working inside, as well as those that are visiting the site as well. It will provide, again, a seamless transition to the within the city center here with the multifamily development that we've seen just north of where we are, along with this cultural public library and the public safety facility itself. As required per the zoning ordinance, and this is what I started to allude to earlier, Commissioner Robertson, even though we were changing sites and we did put it on the consent agenda because we had essentially seen it before, we still went through all the public notification requirements. We notified folks within 600 feet. We've had the site posted out there through rain and storm for the last 3 weeks. And I can say unequivocally, without hesitation, that as of the speaking or the time of this meeting right here, we've had no further, in fact, I haven't had any contact with respect to this. Therefore, we find that the request before you this evening to be substantially compliant with the requirements of the City of Maricopa zoning code, and we recommend approval subject to the conditions set forth in the staff report before you this evening. Madam Chair, that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions that the Commission may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's start out on the internet. Commissioner LaFalle, anything?
I don't have any questions, just a comment to staff, thanking you for going ahead and presenting this. We did discuss this, and I had the same question, but it was clarified. I do appreciate you acknowledging Commissioner Robertson's request.
Thank you. Commissioner Yocum.
The only comment I have, there are special, special security issues for a project of this nature, and I think they've been more than adequately addressed. I'm all in favor of this project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Irby? No question. Commissioner Frank?
No questions.
Robertson?
Thanks for bearing with me, Rick. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
You clarified the 600, the letters that went out for 600 feet. That was a question of mine. The architectural design is the same as what it was proposed the first time, essentially.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Robertson, that is, it's not even essentially, it's identical. They are the same elevations.
Does that fit with the scope and the scheme of the existing city buildings, including the library and City Hall?
Madam Chair, Commissioner, that's a really good question. It's not often that, we sit and take a look in the buildings and the environment, that we're in. I would conclude that yes, they do, and I would base that on the, observance that if you just take a look at the building that we're sitting in tonight with the contemporary angles, with the mix of colors, the different, it's got the metals, it's got the brick, and when you take a look at this, I think it fits it strengthens the fabric of the city center, especially with we know what's coming with the multifamily to the north. So yes, I would say that it does, sir.
Okay, and two last quick questions. Is the building designed with future growth in mind? Can it be added on to? Is that part of the design? Or do you think it's going to be fine for 100 years?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Commissioner, Robertson, I don't know the answer to that.
Fair enough.
However, I do have Keith Brown here, the CIP, the Director of Engineering who's managing this project. He might be able to fill out a little different information on that. And so we'll have him come right up.
Good evening. Regarding the expansion of the police department, I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with any plans to expand it beyond the footprint that it's currently designed at. There's always, in the future, there's always creative ways to find room and ways to expand that I may not be aware of. But at this point, during our current discussions, I have not been engaged with any discussions of planning for future expansion of this site.
This question may apply to you, this last question. Is there any need or concern or plan for a communication tower on the property?
I'm not aware of plans to put in
This technology
communications.
may not even be needed. I'm just asking because.
Right, we have a new communications tower going in at the Fire Station 572, which will cover this area. So I don't believe that a communication tower is planned at this site in the future.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. I don't have any comments, questions, or concerns. It's just a repeat of what we looked at before, and it's kind of like just picked up and dropped over here, so I appreciate that. This is action, discussion and action, so this is the action. I will entertain a motion if there is one.
I would like to move that we approve.
By Commissioner Yocum, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
By Commissioner Robertson. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, regular agenda, 5.1, PAD 22-03, public hearing, PAD 22-03, District 3, at Copper Sky, a request by S3 Biotech LLC, represented by Mr. Britton Lee, Chairman and CEO of S3 Biotech, is proposing to rezone approximately 28.3 acres of land from from existing general mixed use, MUG, and transitional TR zoning district to planned area development, PAD district, for a proposed of a medical and innovation campus. This property is generally located at the southeast corner of North John Wayne Parkway and West Bowling Road. Discussion and action. That was a tongue twister this time. What's up, guys?
Rezonings tends to be those long-winded descriptions. Madam Chair, Commissioners, as mentioned, this is a PAD rezoning request. Because this is a public hearing, I hope it's okay if we could go ahead and present staff's presentation before we open the public hearing.
Yes, please.
Thank you. As it relates to the development process, again, this is, I apologize, that should be highlighted under the step 1 rezoning, but it's under the step 1 rezoning portion of it. Eventually, this project will go through any platting process if we start to divide the lands into other portions. After that, it's a development review permit where we start to look at more in depth of the site plan itself, the functions of buildings, parking locations, access, and then after that, it's the construction drawings and construction. So just to reiterate, we're at step number 1 of a 4-step process in the development. So this is just to establish the zoning for the proposed project. It's about 28 plus 3 acres that we're looking to, or the applicant's looking to consideration for rezoning. The parcels listed there and your staff report as well. There's no site address at this time. The existing zoning is a general mixed use general with a transitional zoning as well. And the proposed zoning is a planned area development district. Just a quick 101 of the background on that. The PAD zoning allows a developer to come in to do a unique type of PAD zoning that's not really tailor-made on current zoning districts, but it's a toolkit for the city and the developer to give and take on, if they do exceptional architectural and land use placemaking, then we could develop its own development zoning standards for itself. So this becomes its own PAD zoning district. And the general plan land use designation is mixed use. Here's the site location. Again, it's the southeast corner of John Wayne Parkway at Bowling. Highlighted in the yellow areas are the parcels indicated for this PAD rezoning. And here is the existing and proposed rezoning, the existing zoning map. And again, highlighted in the areas is the proposed rezoning of the PAD zoning district from mixed use general to PAD and from TR to PAD. So this PAD establishes deviated development standards from what's our current baseline standards, such as setbacks. It establishes additional permitted uses and also establishes restricted permitted uses, parking ratio standards, conceptual land use plan, a conceptual open space and connectivity plan, circulation plan, and also architectural design guidelines. All of this information can be found in your Exhibit C packet, which is your PAD booklet request. That it's under that chapter that mentions all the PAD development standards. This is the PAD land use plan. So the pink area is being recognized, as mentioned in the staff report, as the medical campus, and the bluish area is considered the innovation campus. In the PAD, it describes the potential vision and opportunities of what this land use mix will look like. And here's a conceptual layout. Again, we're not here to look at site plan, but at least to give us an idea of what the PAD vision and the type of level of enhancement of land use we'll see with this PAD. On the medical campus side, we have some health and medical, some condominium residential, hotel. On the innovation campus side, which is the south portion, south of MLK Junior Boulevard, we have the apartment residential, health and medical, and also some sports academy type land use. Also extracted from the PAD is to give a massing model, again, the type of level of usage and the type of urbanization that we can see for this mixed-use medical campus type product. Again, look, this is looking westwards. The southern portion here on the bottom is John Wayne Parkway. On the left-hand side is Bowling Road, and it's looking straight westwards towards Copper Sky and the lake in the back. On that pinkish portion on the left-hand side of the slide is the medical campus, and on the right-hand side is the innovation campus. And just a rendering of the medical campus side. This is looking somewhat northwest. On the right-hand side is Bowling Road. On the top left side is John Wayne Parkway. And on the bottom eastern side, that's Great Dorn Avenue, I believe. Just an extracted image of the circulation plan. So it gives an idea of how land use circulation is being envisioned for the area to utilize the existing MLK Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard access point, but the developers also proposed some additional access points to alleviate traffic movement as well off of John Wayne Parkway. The asterisks that's shown on John Wayne Parkway, in addition, the dark bluish area on the bottom one, the bottom asterisk is also an additional access point, which we, in the staff reports mentioned that the traffic impact analysis has been submitted as a preliminary review at this point. That is still being reviewed and will be solidified at the time that the site plan comes back. This is also being vetted properly through ADOT, as it is a ADOT highway itself, and we're waiting for their comments as well. The applicant has followed the requirement that's set forth in the city zoning code for all requirements of public hearing. This includes notifying in the public newspaper in both the Maricopa Monitor and the Casa Grande Dispatch. Notifications were sent out within 600 feet of the subject property, and also signposting at the multiple properties has been posted. Larger than normal, if you've been out to Copper Sky, there's a large, probably like 4x8 signs that's been out there for the minimum requirements of 15 days before the scheduled neighborhood meeting, which was held about a month ago. And at the time of writing this report, staff has not received any formal written comment to the city for or against this project. On Exhibit D is the citizen participation plan, which you'll see the meeting minutes and summary of that, which, looking at the information, it looked a lot more information about clarification on where existing uses was going to be relocated at here and there, which has been mentioned in the report. As it relates to the city's general plan, voter-approved general plan in conformity, several goals have been identified as adhering and meeting the goals of the cities, such as the plan to facilitate a joint public-private partnership to develop the Copper Sky commercial site. They encourage the mixed-use development, they encourage the development of an array of healthcare facilities, establish Maricopa as a top-tier smart city, and to recruit high-performing, high-quality companies that match the labor profile in the community and our complex existing industries. Also, within the P&Z booklet, the applicant has justified additional elements and objectives that how this project continues to match the vision and the goals of what the city has in mind for the area of a destination, mixed-use, job center-oriented type of facility that we feel that continues to meet the strides of what the general plan has been set forth. As required by Section 18.18040 of the City Zoning Code, the Planning and Zoning Commission has to make the following findings in the recommendation to the City Council: that the amendment is consistent with the general plan, subdivision ordinance, and applicable master plans of the city. The site is physically suitable for the type of intensity of the land use being proposed for this PAD. Adequate transportation facilities are provided, and development carries out a more efficient use of the land and the excellence of architectural and site design. In your staff report, under staff analysis, you'll find the analysis report from city staff that justifies how each element in this section we feel has met those criteria of providing the type of efficient use of land use and also a great type of architectural design opportunities that this project will bring to the city. And again, that's on your staff report, page 6. Staff does recommend approval of PAD case number PAD 2203, subject to conditions of approval, stated in the staff report and is amended by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Madam Chair, Commissioners, at this time, the applicant also would like to go ahead and present some additional information about the project that's beyond what I presented, so if I may pass it on to them. And this is Ed Johnson presenting as well. So,
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the Commission. Thanks. My name is Dr. Ed Johnson, 2302 North Central Avenue, Unit 502, Phoenix 85004. I am a member of the board of S3 Biotech and also an advisor to the company in areas that relate to the intersection between higher education and the community, city government, and prospective tenants at the facility. My first 30 years was spent first at the Board of Regents, or at Arizona State University College of Law, then Board of Regents, the State Post-Secondary Commission, and I've been the president of 3 colleges and universities since then. The last 10 years that I've spent has been advising cities and developers and prospective tenants on multi-use facilities that take advantage of the strengths of all of those entities. And so I was immediately attracted to the vision of Mr. Britton Lee and others in looking for a acreage in Arizona that would bring a spotlight on the state and the particular city and some of the activities that we're going to undertake. So I'd like to quickly walk you through some perspective looks of buildings on the campus. So it's kind of like preview of coming attractions, but we want to give you a sense of the quality that we want to bring to this city and the sensitivity to the needs of the city, the architectural desires, and other issues like parking and traffic control, et cetera, et cetera. So what you see is the medical campus from the northwest corner of Bolin and 347. And so you're viewing the hospital is the first building, the ER, General Hospital, and a medical office building adjacent to it. You'll see, and we'll have more specific photos, a water feature in between the 2 medical facilities and a hotel across the way to the south, and then to the east, short-term residential condominiums, which would be available, flats, if you will, which would be available for doctors and nurses, traveling nurses in particular, and obviously other people in the community. But one of our goals is to help out with the challenges that we know you have with housing. And so we're going to have a mix of potential ownership as well as short-term rentals and traditional apartments throughout the sites. So why Maricopa? I mean, you know all of these facts. We just want to reiterate that several of them mean a lot to us in terms of our site selection. So the fact that you're one of the largest cities in the state, you're the second fastest growing, you have a significant serviceable population today, but given your plans to move to up to 500,000 and then the long-term vision of 1 million residents, there's certainly a critical mass of people who can work and be a part of this vision. It's close enough to the Sky Harbor International Airport to be a national center for certain activities that we'll talk about, so that's really important. But it's a great place to raise a family, as you know, great schools and highly educated populace. And so we intend to contribute to all of those in terms of the employees we want to hire within your city, the people who don't want to drive, say who are in the medical profession, as well as top scientists, medical doctors, and others who will come and practice and hopefully live in your community. Okay. So this is an aerial view, as Mr. Lopez pointed out. The yellow area is the medical campus. The purple area is the innovation campus, and we'll talk briefly about each of those areas as we move along. So again, this is a view from Bolin and 347 looking south. The hospital would be on the corner. Our hope is that we can have a helistop on the roof of the building and not take up valuable acreage and have that be the first thing you see when you come down 347. Again, the medical office building off to the left, the condos to the south, and then the hotel directly opposite the hospital on the other side of the water feature. Another view of the hospital. Another view of the medical facility. That's looking directly off 347 across the water to the lofts. The Innovation Campus has a behavioral health hospital on the upper left, facing 347. Next to that is an exciting building that will house research and development, laboratories, and space to create next-generation technologies. We have a special interest in medical technologies. For example, we are going to develop and provide a complementary app to each member of the community, should they wish to use it, which attempts to flip control of medical records from hospitals and doctors to patients. And any of us who have been through those processes know how difficult it is to get control of your medical information, number one, and then to decide who gets to see it and when they get to see it, and how you keep it private from those who you don't want to share it with. So those are the types of next generation technologies that we intend to create at the Innovation Campus. And that'll be in partnership with one or more universities. We've certainly been talking to the University of Arizona. We'll be talking to Arizona State University. We're talking to several national universities about improvements in technologies. One is the development of a portable MRI. As you may know, the only MRIs there are, which is only available to 10% of the world's population, is 2 big rooms in a hospital or medical center with fixed sites, very expensive machinery, very expensive upkeep, and it's simply not available to 90% of the world. So we're working with an international university on developing the first portable MRI that can go literally in the back of a truck or on the back of an elephant, that would enable tremendous access throughout the world for MRIs. Also important is the development of that technology for concussions and other injuries on, say, athletic fields. So our goal is to ultimately have a portable MRI available at every football game and every other sporting event where there's significant risk of injury to athletes, where you'd be able to do an MRI right there on the site and determine what the next quality of care is. This is an example of a buffer between the southern boundary apartments and the homes on the south. This is about 250 feet of green belt that we would have a great design for, with additional buffering on the other side of the green belt before the apartments that would be open to the public and would be available. It's almost as wide as a soccer field, but really is intended to be expansion of recreational space for the community. It would not be used for any activities related to the Copper Sky project. And here's another view of that open space. So in summary, from an economic development perspective, we'll be issuing a report from a third party, Elliott Pollock and Associates, in the near future that will identify approximately 11,500 construction jobs over multiple years. We think there'll be approximately 3,000 permanent jobs on this site, principally the hospital, the medical office building, the Innovation Center, the behavioral hospital, and also some other activities. We're looking at a residential high school for sports performance, paired with the international soccer team that would come to Maricopa for their spring training, if you will, off-season training, sports psychology center through the Behavioral Health Hospital. So we think there's going to be a lot of jobs generated that we hope will be interesting by your current and future residents, and we can develop more of a what we call live, work, and play model, where you literally can live right on the site, work on the site, and have lots of recreational opportunities, including restaurants and other activities. The 30-year tax benefit for the city is estimated at $4.5 billion, and it'll make the case for how they arrive at those numbers. We're going to have a significant focus on sustainability in terms of greening our operations and our buildings, so you'll see more detail on that in the near future. And certainly we see this as an iconic visual development as well as an economic development driver for your city. And one of the reasons why we selected Maricopa, and we hope you select us, is we think everybody's committed to the same goals that brought this project together and that we will execute on it. So we've had tremendous support from city staff in terms of accelerating the process, making sure everybody does the documentation that's required for a project of this complexity. And so we appreciate all the help that you've been giving us along the way, and we feel welcome here, and we can't wait to get started and hopefully break ground yet this year. So I'll stop with that, and we can take questions.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if you want to go ahead and open up the public hearing.
All righty. With that being said, we will go ahead and open the public hearing at 6:37. If you have any comments, please approach the podium. State your name and address for the record. No, you, Miss Tina.
Good evening. My name is Tina Dugan, 42097 West Arvada Court in Glenwild in Maricopa, Arizona. I absolutely love the idea of this project. As someone who has spent a lot of time at Scripps and Mayo in the last 2 years, I can tell you that this is an amazing thing. My biggest concerns are not to the developers, but more to our city. I noticed all of the access points they're wanting. I don't see that happening without another traffic light on 347 or the accidents we already have at ML, whichever the one is in the middle that comes out, are just going to be exponentially bigger. I'm concerned about parking and how that's being handled, which this is the beginning, and I understand that. But my biggest concern is that they're taking away more sports fields, and the new park that's just been approved in the budget is 3 baseball fields. It's no soccer. And as I looked at this, it's not only the dog park, it goes well into the soccer fields we already have existing. And I know we have tournaments and all of that come out here because of our facility. Those would be my concerns to the city. As for the project itself, I think it's wonderful, and I look forward to having it in Maricopa.
Thank you. Anybody else? State your name and address for the records, please.
Sue Van Gosen, 41452 West Lucera Lane. One of my concerns was also the traffic, but the loss of the dog park and the skate park that the kids have come to rely on. There's not enough activities now for junior high and high school age kids. Also, on the traffic, that is the entrance that is used by special events at Copper Sky, like the Salsa Festival, 4th of July. We'd almost need another street. And will Bolin, that goes by there, connect with the Sonoran Parkway for another way out of the hospital? In other words, is there another exit for the hospital? The emergency entrance, is it going to be the same Bolin entrance that was shown, or will there be a separate entrance for emergencies? Ambulances flying down through there, they're not going to stop at all of these different traffic lights. most of them have a button to push and they get a green light. Also, the other concern was about the sports fields. There are not enough to go around now, and it appears that quite a few of them, especially for soccer and Pee Wee football, are being taken up, taken away. And on the traffic, as you're coming out of there, all of that traffic from the Maricopa High School and junior high and elementary are going to come out on that same street. It almost needs its own street, its own access point. In other words, if it could go out and connect with Sonoran Parkway and have its own entrance and exit that way, so it's not dependent on John Wayne Parkway being cleared, of the stop-and-go traffic leaving the high school or special events. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, Jim Singleton, 36112 West Catalonia Drive in Tortosa. So just like they said, parking, if you guys have been to Salsa Night or any of the events at Copper Sky, there's a lot of parking that needs to happen. The Christmas event was jam-packed, people lined, 347 just to get there, and they can't because there's not enough parking. So this taking away parking, by the way, I do support the idea. I love, more businesses coming here, but if we can consider like a plan for parking. Also, in one of the maps, it showed like an exit bowling going east. That's not correct. It doesn't, go anywhere. So it's a dead end. So that's not a exit. I do know a light is going at Martin Luther King for, I guess, that and Altera. So that'll be good. But yeah, like ambulances going down that when people are trying to get to Copper Sky for events or anything like that, it would take that into consideration.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing at 6:43. Okay, guys, remember this is not conceptual. This is only about the zoning of all of this.
So, Madam Chair, Commissioners, if we may, I think the applicant can respond to just those general questions, and then if you want to go beyond that, it's up to you.
I would think any response to that's out of order based on what you just said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
Staff can, we can.
Well, I have some of the same questions.
My concern is this is agendized as a rezoning.
Correct.
They're talking about something way down which we can respond to.
Exactly.
So the questions are fine, but not this. It's not what it's on the
Not
agenda for.
appropriate for now.
It's not appropriate right now.
I can help assist on clarify a couple of those items, if I may, Commissioners, Madam Chair.
Again, Madam Chair, I would say that's out of order. We don't really need clarification right now. We're voting on a rezoning.
I agree.
Exactly. Thank you. Bring the same comments back if we get out of this, and we'll talk about all of that. With that being said, let's go ahead and let's go out on the internet. Commissioner LaFalle.
I don't have any questions related to the rezoning.
All right, thank you very much. We'll start over here. Commissioner Yocum.
When I walk by this area, which I've been doing for the last several years, but especially this last year, I saw load after load after load of dirt coming in. I also saw emails showing possible iterations of what might be coming in, and I was getting somewhat excited, especially knowing that I sit on this commission. When I received the packet and reviewed it, I was overwhelmed by what is being suggested. I think we do have to keep in mind, as has come up several times from several of the commissioners, that we are talking rezoning tonight, and we're not talking about all of the things that come later on when we're looking at the plat or whatever. We're talking about, is it appropriate to take these pieces of land and rezone them? Considering the various suggested entities that are involved in our presentation, I think a planned area development best captures the need that we have, because you can do almost anything under a PAD. You can put a hospital in there, you can put a school in there, you can put a sports academy, a hotel, condos, apartments. You can put all of that in there. I think we do have to keep a close watch as we do go down the line on traffic, parking, and flood zone, but that's later on. It's going to be interesting with the challenges that this commission is going to be looking at as we review the various elements that are going to be created out of this overall presentation.
Thank you. Commissioner
Yeah,
Irving?
it's exciting, and it brings to mind a story about years ago. A couple wanted to do something innovative like this, and they were turned down by cities in the east and told to go west. They went to a little town in Palo Alto, and there in Palo Alto, Leland Stanford formed a university, and that's about, to me, how exciting this is. So again, it's just amazing, and what a tribute to staff that you convince them that we could be Palo Alto. So I'm just, very excited about it. It's a huge project, and what this can do for our city and our state is unbelievable. So I'm all for the PAD, which is the way to go. So, congrats.
Thank you. Commissioner Frank.
So yeah, I'm very excited about this project as well. I think it's going to be an excellent project for the community. I share many of the same concerns of the public here tonight. In addition to that, there is the Clomar that's in the medical campus that's in the corner at Bolin and 347. And in my, I also sit on another board here in town with flood control districts, and that Clomar is something we've been working on for several years now. And I appreciate staff putting that in the report, that you're going to be watching that. Also, the spillway that's currently existing there that spills into the dog park and the soccer fields, all of those items are very interrelated, and really can't mess with one without affecting the other. So that's just going to be something that we're going to have to watch, have a careful eye on. I know your engineers on this are very capable. I believe they did the original design for the park. So we just have to trust that they do a good job here as well. I am concerned, I know it's not exactly zoning, but it does speak to the viability a little bit. If we're moving fields around, are we going to be doing away with the net number of fields and baseball fields? We got world-class baseball fields out there. And I saw something in there that said you were relocating soccer fields. I'm just concerned that that relocation is going to impact the baseball fields. So I know that's kind of related to one of the questions here as well. But then in the presentation, I noticed there was also a green belt on the southern end, and I didn't remember seeing that in the exhibits, and I thought that might be a good way to convey water around as well. But anyway, those are my thoughts. I would be interested to know about the displacement of the fields.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Commissioner Frank, if we can have Dr. Ed Johnson come back and just speak on what we're doing as a partnership with the city to replace those fields. So, Doctor.
Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, we're working as we speak with the city in a proposed relocation of the baseball fields to another location within the city and adding baseball fields in addition to moving those fields. Those fields would become additional soccer fields. And we all know we need more fields of all types, so we're going to be on the lookout for other ways to support the construction of additional fields in the community. So that process is not formalized with a specific land purchase, but we are working with architects to design places where those fields could go, and we have a site in mind that we hope will be able to come forward to you with those plans shortly. So we own the replacement of fields. We understand that.
Okay. I know the other fields that are being proposed up at the lakes, those are rather small baseball fields. They're not, I don't think, on the same level as what's at Copper Sky currently. So I hope that the new location and new fields will be on par or better than the existing.
They will be.
Okay.
Dr. Johnson?
Go ahead, Commissioner Yoakum.
You had said that we are going to be looking to relocate those fields. Is there anything being done now? You may not be able to give us any details, but has any land been actually identified that we perhaps are going to be using for these fields?
Yeah, we have several sites that have been identified that would work for the relocation of the fields. And as I say, it's our intent to move forward with either a 4 or an 8 field solution at a single site.
Thank you, Doctor.
That's what we're currently finalizing.
Yeah, I'm looking for some clarification because I think I lost a disconnect somewhere. So we're moving the soccer fields down in toward the baseball fields and removing the baseball fields?
The soccer fields would replace the current baseball fields in the southeast corner. Those would be moved and expanded to another location in the center of the city.
And I think this might be a question for Rudy. Does, or maybe even Rick, somebody, what's the thought of, and I do apologize, Commissioner Robertson, for brought up another question. What about the removing of the dog parks? What's the intention of the city for that?
Yeah, I think council and leadership has made some presentations earlier in the year of where that dog park can be relocated as well. My last understanding is looking to the eastern portion of Copper Sky, east of the lake, as the new location of the dog park. The dog park itself is fairly large. There's two areas. I think one's for the timid dogs and one's for the large dogs. But they're evaluating to relocate that within the Copper Sky area.
That wasn't mentioned, that's why I was asking. So there is a notion of relocating them,
Right.
not getting rid of them, but relocating. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm fine. Frank, anything else? Okay, Commissioner Robertson?
Thank you. Yes, very exciting project. I favor this kind of innovation and forward thinking for our community. I don't know if we'll reach 1 million people ever. That is said in there. I don't think any of us want that.
Not in my world, anyway.
But anyway, I do have a comment/question. Can the project move forward in the anticipated fashion that is proposed with the current zoning?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, the answer to that is no.
Cannot?
No.
Why?
The current zoning will allow the height, the amount of intensity or density. The setback standards are not designed for this type of tight compactness of it. So this is truly a different type of use and more pedestrian-oriented type of zoning. We do have some standards embedded like this, but nothing to this magnitude itself. So P&Z gives more creativity, more flexibility to develop those standards that will still meet life safety standards itself.
That was a leading question because I thought I knew the answer already, and you confirmed it. So that lends me to think that a PAD really gives really broad carte blanche to the developer. It's been in the media that they're talking about 150 feet height of a building, which in my old language, that's 15 stories. Today's modern day is probably 10 or 12 stories. That's huge. And I'm not necessarily opposed to that, but I just want to make sure I understand that the reason the PAD is needed is so that they can reach those bigger heights in their vision.
Correct.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just wrap it up by echoing everything that everybody's already said, that this is a very exciting project. It's really something that the city of Maricopa can be proud to have, and it will definitely put us on the map like Palo Alto will. And I honestly think that if any location in the city of Maricopa would be, the best location for it would be at Copper Sky. It's only going to add to the overall desirability of bringing outside items into Maricopa and there as well, especially with the fact that there's going to be another hotel there. And I do echo some of the sentiments that have been said by our constituents, which we will definitely, if anybody knows us up here, we are all about traffic, so we'll definitely be looking about that, talking about that, and expect to see a lot about that in this coming up presentations that you're going to give. But I actually think that this type of project will help the special events and all the traffic issues. I think it will give a better flow to the area because it would be more generally designed. It's going to be, as much as it's kind of hard to say, it's going to give a more, you're going to be able to see an in and out better than you can now. It's going to be definitely something that's going to be helpful. And I definitely do agree that this whole thing will just skyrocket the city of Maricopa desirability for other type of industry to come in, piggybacking on this. We're going to see a lot more higher end restaurants coming in because of this. We're attracting a higher class of personnel with hospitals and doctors and innovations like this. It's only nothing but good. And I think that, thank you for that.
Motion.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if I might
Make a motion that we approve PAD 22-03.
I just want to point out real quick, Madam Chair, Commissioners, there is one typo on stipulation number 4. It just has the wrong PAD booklet name. That will make that change before this goes to council.
Thank you. With that being said, Commissioner Yocum, are you willing to modify your motion with?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Second that, Frank. Thank you. You're okay. Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All those in favor?
I had a comment.
Opposed? All right, so moved.
Thank you. Thank you.
We look forward to seeing the next step on this. But I will tell you, we're all about traffic.
We sure.
Yes. Yeah, flooding with a close second, exactly. So I'm pretty excited about this project.
Oh, man.
All right, next item, reports from Commissioner and/or staff. You were looking for your typo? Nick's doing his job over there.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, first and foremost, just want to say that we've got a full agenda for the first meeting in September. That being said, I would wish everyone a happy and safe holiday coming up here in the next couple of weeks. A couple of neat things that we're working on internally for us. We've identified, and we're in the process of formalizing about 12 amendments to the zoning code that we're going to be bringing before you shortly. We've put together a rough draft. We're going to shoot that by Rudy, excuse me, and just verify, this is the direction we want to go with those. And then we'll be bringing them to you either in probably in some form of study session, just to sit down, go over them, get your feedback on those, and then we'll get those out to the public. Within that, we are working on some different notification requirements with respect to sign size, notification limits. So we've got a lot of neat things that are working, making our way through the system. So we'll have those coming before you as well. Other than that, ma'am, that concludes my update, and I would say thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Are we any closer to our study session? You know I'm going to keep bugging you.
I know you're going to keep bugging me, Madam Chair, and I see Rudy getting up over there, so I think he's going to have a word with that. So.
Good, because that's who we started bugging first.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, if I may, Rick. Yes, so now that we now have our mayor, Nancy Smith, the discussion could start planning of dates and a date and time of when we'll have our joint P&Z Commission and City Council meeting. So more to come. We're getting there.
We're going to start kicking some butt and taking names and numbers later. Don't make me start pulling out how long we've been asking for this.
I know.
All right. Anything else, guys? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn. All right, we got a motion second. So all those in favor? Aye. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brittany.
Bring dinner for the next round.